Steve, Jordan Bell led the NBA last week in unauthorized room service purchases.
I think he had a problem with that last year. That got a suspect. Apparently, he was buying candles on one of the assistant coaches' tabs last year. So that one got him in a little bit of trouble last year. All right, Blazers. Let's chat a little bit of Blazers here. Portland, they're on our network tonight, 95.7 KORE. They are playing the Warriors tonight. You can tune in for that at 7 o'clock. This is not your rematch of last year's Western Conference Finals. I guess it is, but it also isn't. Both teams are now lottery bound, most likely. And if you thought Portland was working their way into the playoffs, well, that may have ended last week when they made a trade. It was an interesting one. Again, with all NBA trades these days, you see a trade, and in the old days, I miss kind of the old days. I used to look, and I'd say, this guy's better than this guy. We just kind of this trade. Who won this trade depends on which player's better. And nowadays, it tends to depend on sort of who got more salary cap help out of it. And that's what this thing was. Portland saves about $12 million in salary and was over the luxury tax by sending Kent Bazemore in his expiring deal, along with Anthony Tolliver and a couple second-round picks to the Kings for Trevor Ariza, Caleb Swanigan, and Wenyen Gabriel. Alex, I'm going to ask you, what is your scouting report on Wenyen Gabriel?
Very little. I've never heard of him. I wish I had the Peyton Manning drop right now.
Well, and in fact, I think Woj referred to him as like William Gabriel or something on the day it came out too. So
Peter Gabriel.
You weren't the only person who hadn't heard of Wenyen Gabriel. But all right, then I'm going to ask you my second question. How excited are you for the return of Caleb Swanigan to the Portland Trailblazers?
I'm excited in the sense that you get another big, so that's good. We're definitely depleted in that department, Steve. So that helps out a lot, and he's familiar with the system that Stotts runs, so that's good.
He's familiar and knows how to average about 2 points a game in that system. So that I'm not sure that's exactly what you want, but that's what they get. Trevor Ariza is kind of the one guy. It feels like Trevor Ariza is 172 years old because he's been around. He was actually I believe he was the Pac-12 Player of the Year, like when Kevin Love was still in high school. I think he left to turn pro the year before Kevin Love got there. But Ariza's played, 24 minutes a game, scoring 6 points a game. Certainly not the numbers we've seen from him. But, if this was a Blazer team in contention right now, I think Ariza can give you at least as much as you were getting from Bazemore, but I'm just not sure what the role is for him.
Ariza's been better than Bazemore this season per 48 minutes, and he's a good shooter, so he can knock down the three. He's got a lot of experience in the playoffs. I think Bazemore was extremely inconsistent at best, but we're going to miss Bazemore's defense and his tenacity. The big thing about this trade that I was trying to wrap my mind around it just like you were, and the thing that I took away from it is you save over $12 million in salary because you get rid of that contract. So I don't know necessarily that this isn't the move before the big move.
Yeah. Well, and there's still a lot of speculation that the big move is maybe Hassan Whiteside. I think there was a thought coming into this that, hey, you've got two max deals, Bazemore and Whiteside, two max contracts that you can trade out and maybe get something for. Bazemore, I think you knew that was probably going to be more of a salary cap relief guy because nobody was going to come in that was in contention, be willing to give up a lot for him. Whiteside, on the other end, has really had quite the year for God, I keep calling him Oregon, for the Blazers this year. I still hold out that maybe some contender comes in and looks and thinks that's the piece we are away, and that's the one where you can actually maybe get some assets.
Yeah, that'd be nice. What'd be great is if you could get a player that could help us now and save salary cap.
Yeah, and I think if you're and with Nurkic coming back, it felt like, for the last couple of weeks that maybe Portland was hanging around that 9-10. Maybe they were still all in. This trade seems to indicate, in one way it indicates to me that maybe they're not, is they played the last game, and I believe tonight again with 8 players, because this trade doesn't become official until tomorrow. And so you can't play Bazemore, you can't play Tolliver. The other day, Gary Trent Jr. was basically throwing up and came in and played and scored 30. But it feels like if you were thinking, we're in the mix for the 8, and if you're in that mix, that one game or two could really swing it. The fact they basically made a deal to give them 8 players for 2 games, and against teams that aren't great, kind of compromising your chances to win those games almost leads me to believe that that's kind of the sign of this trade, that maybe they're just kind of looking ahead.
So you're saying that's the writing on the wall then, huh?
Seems to me. Like I say, I would think that if you think, man, we're going to be in this thing, we'd sure need to get that win over Golden State at home. I'm not sure you do that if you wanted to have 8 guys with you, although they might be able to beat Golden State with 8, quite frankly, tonight.
I think they can beat Golden State tonight. Here's the thing. If they don't beat Golden State tonight, you might see another weird trade where we dump even more salary tomorrow.
Yeah, pull yourself out of that one there. But so anyway, the Kent Bazemore and Anthony Tolliver eras ended early. You know, I mean, second-round picks are second-round picks, and it feels like they're easy to get, and every team has 100 of them. But you know, that might be the part that, I haven't seen kind of what years these are at, and if Portland has a couple other seconds in those years. In the past years, the Blazers have really kind of piled up and had a couple of second-rounders. But you know, that's the part of it, I guess. I mean, I think more than losing Bazemore and Tolliver, kind of the assets you gave up are second-round picks, which isn't a killer. And again, I think Ariza has an option there where he could come back and maybe on that team next year. Again, we all talk about next year. Suddenly with, you know, this team that has Collins and Nurkic and the guards you got, maybe Trevor Ariza is a guy that on that team can become kind of that guard off the bench that becomes kind of like what we were talking about with Anthony Mathis with the Ducks. Maybe you bring him up the bench and you see what games he's hot, and if he's hot, you ride him, and the games he's not, you sit him down.
So basically my 8th grade JV basketball career. If I came in and hit a 3, I could stay in. And if I missed, I was immediately regulated to the bench.